As I've said, this is my first time driving a van, and I don't necessarily feel worried. It does feel very easy. Kia have entered the van game with this, the PV5 Cargo. It actually joins a family of 4 PV5 models. The Cargo, the Passenger, which is out there to rival the ID Buzz, a wheelchair accessible, and the Crew. All 4 are all electric, they're brand new, and they just feel oh so Kia. And in this video we're going to talk about the PV5 Cargo's practical nature and whether this new era for Kia, this new entry, is actually going to live up to the game. First, let's talk about its design. I mean, on the face of it, it does kind of just look like a commercial vehicle, a white van out on the road. But what I do like is Kia have put their own twist on it. Even though it feels like a different area of business from their EV range, the fact they've got that two-tone paint and that LED light design, it kind of feels a part of that EV family. You can distinguish this as being an electric commercial vehicle rather than just an everyday white van. And I do quite like that. Same with the alloy wheel design, 16-inch across all variants, across all specs. And again, it has that Kia twist, it has them signature design, fonts around it. And I think the front looks more like a passenger vehicle. I feel like the PV5 Passenger kind of suits this design more. This doesn't feel like a commercial van looking at it, although it is. Has loads of practicality for the driver and if there's a passenger, and also in its cargo space. And best of all, there's so much incentive around the PV5 range, especially the Cargo, when it comes to commercial use. Because like the entirety of the Kia family, you're going to get 7 years warranty, roadside assistance, drive away insurance and excess, and also quality aftercare service. And a business contract hire on a PV5 Cargo will start from £259 depending on your model and spec. And as for them specs and trim levels, where there are 2 trim levels, essential and pure, split out between a standard and long range. The standard range houses a 51.5 kilowatt-hour battery, giving you up to 184 miles of electric range. For the long range, and that upgrades to a 71.2 kilowatt-hour battery, giving you 258 miles, which is a lot more practical. However, if you were to go for the standard range, this does utilise fast charging, so you can get from 10 to 80% in around about half an hour. So charge it up on your lunch break and you kind of be sorted. Now, as for what you get in them specs, I mean, I will say I'm glad there's a step and a handle, because otherwise I'd very much struggle to get in here. But when it comes to them specs, even from that essential trim level, which is the base, the cheapest one, coming in just under 35,000, you're still going to get a 12.8-inch touchscreen, a digital dash. Your touchscreen will come with smartphone integration, built-in sat-nav, all the usual stuff, so you're going to be comfortable out and drive. It's going to be useful, you're not going to get frustrated with it. Your digital dash is fairly straightforward, there's not really much going on, but it does integrate adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and traffic sign recognition technology, which all comes from the base spec once again. But then if you fancy a much more comfortable driving experience, go for the Plus. You're going to get heated seats and steering wheel, as well as wireless phone charger. But ultimately, your main port of call when owning this type of vehicle would be for commercial use. And I mean, interior is very practical in that sense. I don't think I'd necessarily be annoyed if I've got to go on a long stretch of motorway in this. With that centre armrest, with the driving position, all feels very comfortable. You also get plenty of pockets and clever little storage compartments. Get your usual glove box, you get cup holders in the middle and deep pockets. You actually get 2 different sections. One houses more cup holders, another for just whatever you fancy. You even get a separate section just behind your digital dash, so house your important documents, or if you did know you're going to be bumping into your manager on site, then get all your fast food wrappers and whack them in there. Or even better, both at the driver's side and in the passenger footwells, you have secret compartments. So if you're on site or if you're going to park this overnight somewhere, put all your valuables in that and they'll be out of sight, they'll remain safe. And again, if you're going to see your manager, have a little tidy, sweep them under there and sort them at the next service station. You get plenty of spaces to charge whatever you want. You get 2 USB sockets in the center console. You got a nice pocket underneath where you could actually leave your phone, although there is a wireless phone charger there, but if you're with the Essential, then that will just be a little pocket. You get another drawer in that center module, so there is loads of space to actually house and store stuff. You're probably not too fussed about what's in that infotainment screen other than, do I know where I'm going? But it is a very sizable cabin. If you are a short bloke like me and you have to have your seat pulled slightly more forward, they could probably get even more stuff behind here because that cargo screen is quite far back. If you're lucky enough to be 6 foot, then there might not be too much space, but you can certainly store an overnight bag behind there. You also get access to multiple driving modes, eco, normal and snow, meaning all weathers this vehicle is going to be fine. And if you're on a long stretch of motorway you don't really want to stop, then you can drag out that charge. I don't think there's really much to say about the interior of the van. It's probably my first time actually using one, especially like this. I've been in a passenger one like the ID Buzz, what the PV5 passenger kind of reflects. But in terms of a van that's mainly going to be used for commercial use, I think it's probably as good as you get. It's practical, it feels comfy, you're going to be able to know where you're going with that smartphone integration on that touchscreen, and it's very user friendly. Ultimately, I think it just does the job, and it's a good first attempt for Kia, it's got to be said. Granted, if you were in the market for this type of vehicle, then you're probably not too fussed about what that interior looks like or what features it provides you, other than will I be comfy driving to site or doing a shed load deliveries. You want to know if it's actually usable. Well, PV5 certainly excels in this area, because not only we get a sliding door at the side and also one at the rear, which opens how you'd expect a van to open at the back, with 2 doors spanning almost a metre in width, meaning there's so much space to get all your tools or equipment in, and it actually houses 4.4 metres cubed of cargo volume. Now, with the PV5 being an all-electric vehicle, it actually supports vehicle-to-load technology. If you're not aware of what that is, it essentially means you can extract charge from the vehicle and use it to power whatever you like. You need somewhere to plug in your power tools if you just want to charge them, or even bring a kettle or air fryer on site for a tea break or your dinner. The world's your oyster, do what you want using that 3-pin plug. Out on the road then, and the PV5 Cargo somewhat drives how you'd expect a commercial vehicle to drive a white van, in the sense that it's not particularly quick or powerful, but with it being an all-electric vehicle, it has that all-electric powertrain. It does drive a lot smoother, certainly quieter, so if you're using this as a delivery vehicle, you're not going to be waking up the whole neighbourhood with your noisy diesel. And it just has that bit more responsive nature rather than a combustion engine. Has slightly snappier torque, although not 60, either is 12.4 or 16.1, depending whether you go for the standard or long range. Go for the long range with that bigger battery, it's going to be quicker because there's more force behind it. Now, as someone who doesn't own or drive a commercial vehicle, as a matter of fact, it's actually my first time driving a van. My only comparison I have to this would be the ID Buzz, which is what the PV5 passenger will rival against. And is somewhat exactly the same to this, apart from in the passenger you have seats in the back, in the cargo you have cargo. Pretty straightforward. But if I was to have a career change and have to use a commercial vehicle, something like this, I wouldn't have too many complaints in having to use on a daily basis, in the sense that all electric vehicles somewhat drive exactly the same, because manufacturers don't necessarily have too much wiggle room when it comes to the engineering side of it. With a combustion engine, you've got so many moving parts. With this, it's a case of an electric or 2 electric motors, a battery and 4 wheels. Once they're connected together and they're working, there's not so much you can actually do. So with that said, although it's somewhat slower than a large electric SUV, it drives like one. It feels smooth, has all them safety features, and is ultimately easy. In fact, you've got keyless entry, you just walk up to it, you get in. You turn it on, whack it and drive, and you're away. Adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist coming from standard. Long stretch of motorway, you somewhat don't have to do much, you just have to pay attention. And just the way it handles, the way it accelerates, takes on corners during motorways, does feel that of a large SUV. Which, if I was trying to put my mind into how it would feel like driving a petrol or diesel van, I don't think they'd compare to a combustion engine large SUV, if you get what I mean. Whereas this compares to an electric SUV, and I think that's where this will probably stand out from the rest. But ultimately, I just think practicality out on the road is the key feat when it comes to this type of vehicle. You've got so much space and storage in this cabin. The fact that your wing mirrors are huge and integrate blind spot detection is going to make it very easy to navigate roads. The fact you get reversing cameras on that infotainment screen from standard essentially means that with all them safety features come from standard, no matter what spec you get, the driving experience is going to reflect one another. And as I've said, this is my first time driving a van, and I don't necessarily feel worried. It does feel very easy. I don't feel like I'm constantly on alert so I don't crash into anything. I feel like I'm just driving this how I drive my everyday car, just sort of getting on with it, making sure I don't crash, but not overly worried about it. So if I can be comfortable in the PV5 Cargo, then there's no reason why someone who uses a commercial vehicle on a daily basis would find this tricky or annoying in any sense. Potentially would have liked a few more physical buttons, yeah, or your adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, driving mode are integrated on the steering wheel, but your clamp controls is all done through that touchscreen, which I think is somewhat of a smart move because it means you get that wireless phone charging slot as well as that extra drawer in the center console rather than housing any form of button. But I feel I'm a little bit old school in that sense. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of like heated seats and steering wheel controls being in an infotainment screen. I just want to be able to toggle it on and off whilst I'm out on the road rather than having to go through here, and if you slightly press a wrong button because you're going over a bumpy road, then you're kind of back to square one and you have to go back to the home screen. Sometimes I just like an actual switch. I can go boom, that's done. And as I've said, this is my first time driving a van, and I don't necessarily feel worried. It does feel very easy. One of the best features about the PV5 when it's out on the road is the fact you actually get a turning circle of 5.5 meters. Now, to put that into perspective, the Renault 5, which is a rather compact EV, has a turning circle of 10.1. So it shows that the way Kia have manufactured this, just going to make it so much more practical if you've got to do delivery in a really tight cul-de-sac. You're not going to be spending ages doing an 8-point turn. You could probably do a 3 and get away with it. So then, there you have it, the Kia PV5 Cargo, one of 4 PV5 variants in Kia's first entry into the all-electric commercial vehicle world, and for me, it's a very good first attempt. I don't think they could have really done much better. It has a practical mile range, practical cargo volume, and plenty of comfort and features in that interior. And it's not massively extortionate, with that business contract hire starting from £259 a month, as well as the actual overall fees of them 4 trim levels starting under £35,000. As first times go, I think we can all agree this is probably better than the rest. And if you want to find out more about the Kia PV5 range or book a test drive, then contact one of our Perry's Kia dealerships. More details can be found on the Perry's website.